Hello and welcome to another episode here in this channel. So this is a continuation of factors affecting crop production. Kaya nandito na tayo sa number 14. So if you haven't yet clicked on that video, you can go back there para mas masundan nyo yung discussion. So now, let's proceed to the episode. Ayan. So which is a destructive effect of strong winds like typhoons on crops? A. Increase photosynthesis. B. Grain shattering. C. Reduce transpiration. D. Shorter maturation time. Again, you can pause the video if you want to answer. Okay, another abiotic factor affecting crop production is wind or air movement. So in the Philippines, the normal wind speed is around 7.2 kilometers per hour. Sabi natin kanina, ang tawag dito, typhoon ay more than 21 kilometers per hour. So, and ang normal 7.2, and yung strong wind, more than 30 kilometers per hour. So, at that rate, pwede nang masira yung dahon ng banana and abaka. So, here are some of the agricultural effects of high wind or air movement, yung masyadong mabilis. Una, mas tumataas ang transpiration rate. So, kapag mas nahanginan yan, mas tumataas yung transpiration rate. So you can also look back on that sa episode on crop physiology. I have discussed transpiration in detail dun sa episode na yun. Nagdadala ang pollen, nagdadala, nadadala ang pollen, so nagiging sterile ang bulaklak. So for example, sa cases ng yung mga madaling well, almost all of the flowers naman na for agriculture, madaling liparin yung pollen. So, example sa mga weeds din, ganyan. So, kapag nahahangin agad yung mga yan, madali silang kumakalat. So, ayun yung isa sa mga effect. Kapag masyadong malakas yung hangin, yung pollen, let's say for example, sa corn, ayan, kapag nawala yung mga pollen dun sa tassel at hindi siya napupunta sa baba, sa ear, so nagiging sterile yung bulaklak yan. Possibly hindi sila mamunga. So, yan, destruction ng mga halaman. So, this one, itong illustration na nandiyan sa gilid, courtesy of Ohio State University, that is called lodging. Ayan, so yung pagtumba ng corn natin. So, lodging. And sa konteksto naman ng crop diseases, so yan, pagkalat ng spores ng sakit. Yung mga spores ng, let's say for example, downy mildew, yung mga yan. Other fungi diseases pa. So in the question, which is a destructive effect of strong winds like typhoons on crops, the answer is grain shattering. Ay, grain shattering, pag ganon. Okay, number 15. In photosynthesis, the most effective wavelengths of light are in the A, green region, B, yellow region, C, red and blue regions, D, far infrared region. Number 16, the photoperiodic response where plants flower regardless of day length is called A, short day, B, long day, C, day neutral, or D, intermediate. Number 17, coffee is an example of a day neutral plant, B, short day plant, C, long day plant, D, photophobic plant. Number 18, which group of plants is shade-loving and light-saturated at about 500 foot candles? A, heliophytes, B, psiophytes, C, day neutral, D, phototrophs. Another abiotic factor affecting crop production is solar radiation. So we have three aspects of solar radiation. We have intensity, gaano kaliwanag or kalakas yung liwanag. Duration, gaano katagal yung liwanag kada araw? So, ilang oras ba yon? And we also have wavelength or the quality or uri ng light. So, we have yung color. So, let's look at some of them later. So, ang mga epekto naman ng light, we have photoenergetic. So, photoenergetic effect. So, para sa photosynthesis, ang pinaka-effective As we've discussed din sa photosynthesis na video, if you haven't yet watched that video, I will link it here. Red and blue light. Photocybernetic, it's more on the effect on growth and development. So yung light quality. And photoperiodic, response based sa haba or sa duration ng araw. Ayun. So, another classification of plants naman is based on light requirement. So we have heliophytes, which are sun-loving. We have cyophytes, which are shade-loving. And intermediate na pwedeng sanayin sa mas maliwanag or mas madilim. So sa heliophytes, ang mga examples natin, corn, banana, eggplant, sugarcane. Cyophytes, we have ferns, coffee, ginger, black pepper. So these are some of the crops, yung mga cyophytes natin. Now, whenever you are doing like, anong tawag doon? Yung multi-level cropping, for example, may mga trees ka sa taas, ito yung mga pwede mong ilagay sa baba. Ayan. Okay, so now let's go to the types of plants based on photoperiodic response. So ito naman, we have day neutral, short day, and long day. So ito na yung kanina, yung sabi natin na photoperiodic. Ayan, based sa haba ng araw. So we have what we call day neutral. Kaya nilang tumubo, kaya nilang mabuhay, kaya nilang mag-flower without, irregardless of the length ng araw. So, example, banana, tomato, corn, kaya nila yan. So, we also have short day and long day. So, kapag short day, kailangan nila na mas mahaba yung gabi, tapos mas maikli yung araw para mamulaklak. Kaya sa short day. So, we have rice, we have soybean. Yung long day naman, kailangan mas maikli yung gabi, kailangan mas mahaba yung araw para sila ay mamulaklak. So example, ito, magkukwento na lang ako para mas matandaan nyo. Ako, firm believer ako in my lectures na kung magsasalita lang ako magsasalita dito ng facts, mahihirapan kayong intindihin siya. So mas nakakatanda ang mga tao through storytelling. So when I was in third year, meron akong kinukuwang subject noon. Tapos ano siya, first semester. So pag first semester sa UPLB, it's around June, July, August, September hanggang December. Ayun, tama June ba yun? Basta August pala, August. August to December. Tapos, ng time na yun, I'm taking plant growth o horticulture 132. Tapos meron kaming isang activity or isang experiment na pinatubo kami ng radish, ganyan. So, ako, tinubo. Ano tawag dito? Titirim ko yung radish. Tapos dun kasi sa exercise na yun, vernalization siya. So, kailangan mong itanim yung ilagay yung seeds ng radish sa ref, then itatanim mo siya, then you will look at it if tutubuan ba siya ng flowers, etc. So may treatments ako noon. So parang may 20 ako ng mga paso dati, tapos each merong replicates, ganyan, etc. etc. May treatments. Tapos, nung time na yon, December na, pasahan na ng mga reports, etc. Wala pa rin tumutubo dun sa radish ko. Like, hindi pa siya, dahon pa lang siya lahat. So, sabi ko, ano kayang meron dito? Tapos nag-consult ako sa professor ko nung time na yon. Then, ang sabi niya, ano kaya yung reason? Kasi ang sabi ko, ma'am, ito po yung ano sa akin. Tapos ang sabi niya, ano kaya yung reason? So, i-search mo na lang, tapos i-support mo sa paper mo. Tapos na ganyan, syempre, yung mga tanim na yun, pandemic na ito ba? So, alam ka namang tanggalin ko na agad sila. So, hinaya ko lang silang tumubo. Tapos nakakatawa. Tapos na yung semester, tapos na yung grades, ganyan. Yung radish, lumabas lang siya noong mga February na. February, mga ganong levels na. So, ang ibig sabihin lang nun, ano bang meron kapag August, September, October, November, December, yung mga yan, mas maonte ang solar radiation. 'Di ba? Kasi nga, malapit ng Burr months, ganyan, mas malamig. Tapos, maraming ulan. So, in terms of maraming ulan, maraming bagyo, ganyan. So, in terms of exposure to light, less yung exposure ng light dun sa mga radish. Kaya hindi sila lumalaki, hindi sila tinubuan ng flowers. Nagkaroon lang siya ng sign of growth talaga nung mas mahaba na yung araw. Ayan. So, that's one illustration ng long day plant. Ayan. Radish yung crop na yon dati. Okay, so ang answer sa number 15, in photosynthesis, the most effective wavelengths of light are the red and blue regions. Just a little recap, yung red and blue, sila yung ina-absorb ng photosystems 1 and 2 doon sa loob ng cell sa ating chloroplasts. Then, yung green, siya yung nare-reflect, kaya kulay green yun na perceive ng mata natin na color ng dahon. The photoperiodic response where plants flower regardless of day length is called day neutral. Day neutral. Short day, kailangan mas maunti yung day. Long day, kailangan mas mahaba yung exposure sa light. Coffee is an example of a short day plant. Which of the group of plants is shade-loving and light-saturated at about 500 foot candles? And the answer is Cyophytes. Cyophytes, shade-loving. Heliophytes ay sun-loving. Okay, now let's go to another factor. Blank humidity increases the incidence of many plant diseases and insect pest populations. A, low, B, medium, C, high, D, very low. Yan. So another factor affecting crop production is relative humidity. So ang meaning lang yan, sukat ng moisture sa hangin or amount ng moisture or tubig sa hangin. So ang average relative humidity in the Philippines is around 82%. Ano ba yung effects ng relative humidity sa halaman? So kapag mas mataas ang relative humidity ng environment, mas madaling umatake ang pests and diseases. So, ayan. Mas mahirap patuyuin yung palay kapag sobrang basa ang hangin. And ito yung karaniwang relationship. Kapag mababa ang relative humidity, tas mataas ang temperature, so low RH, tapos high temperature, mas mataas ang water loss. On the other hand, kapag mataas ang temperature, ang relative humidity, tas mataas ang temperature, bumababa ang transpiration. So, mas mababa ang transpiration. So, na-discuss ko na rin to sa transpiration na video na kaya mas mababa ang transpiration kapag mataas na yung relative humidity is that nahihirapan na yung water na umakyat or lumabas kasi nga masyado na saturated ng moisture sa labas. So, ayun yung tendency. Okay, number 19. Ito pala yung answer. So, high humidity increases the incidence of many plant diseases and insect pest population. So, high yung answer dyan. Okay, number 20. Which air pollutant is toxic to plants and may come from industrial emissions? A, nitrogen gas. B, sulfur dioxide. C, oxygen. D, water vapor. So yan, another factor affecting crop production is the gaseous environment. So kapag polluted yung hangin, hindi rin makakabuo ng maayos na harvest ang mga halaman. So example, meron siyang positive effect in some, meron ding negative effect sa iba. So ang gas na carbon dioxide, since kailangan siya sa photosynthesis, kailangan siya. And abundant naman siya sa mundo natin, 'di ba? So madalas yung carbon dioxide na yan, abundant naman siya in open fields. So ayun yung effect ng carbon dioxide. On the other hand, yung pollution, yung air pollution, may mga toxic gases like lead, sulfur, smog, carbon monoxide, hydrofluoric acid, ay mga yan. So it can also affect crop production. So this is also one of my observation din siguro when it comes to urban agriculture. Kunwari, sa Manila, ito, nung nagstay ako, nung nagturo ako sa UP Manila, ito yung observation ko every day. Kasi dumadaan ako sa may Taft, ganyan. So, marami kasi dong plants na nasa gilid, na yung naka-hanging plants. Tapos hindi sila maganda. Hindi sila maganda kasi polluted yung air na nandoon. Laging pinupunta ng mga ano-anong jeep, na mga vehicles. So, nagre-release yun ng toxic airs, toxic airs, toxic air, toxic gases, ayun na lang. Ayan, like lead, blah, blah, blah. So hindi rin lumalaki at hindi maganda yung mga plants na nandun sa gilid ng mga kalsada. So ayun, that's one of the effects. Kaya ano ba ang usually ang mga maganda talagang ilagay sa ano yung trees or mga trees, mga shrub na ano. For example sa Espanya, sa Espanya marami dong ano nga to? I forgot the exact scientific name pero under the family say the subfamily na Saisalpinidae. I forgot ko ano peacock flower. Ayun. So ano siya, legume siya na medyo tree. So maganda siyang tignan kasi hindi siya ganun ka-sensitive when it comes to ano. Unlike dun sa iba na hindi talaga maganda. Anyway, medyo pa ano na yun, landscape horticulture. I don't know, bakit walang coverage sa landscape horticulture sa board exam? I don't know. So, dito, ayan. The answer is sulfur dioxide. Yan. Number 21. As a factor in crop production, the edaphic factor refers to A, microorganism, B, climate, C, man, D, soil. Yan. So, ang answer dito ay soil. So, edaphic factors and lupa. So, soil is a three-phase system. May solid, may liquid, may gas. If you want to learn more about this, I have a whole series with our US partner, Omaha Gardener, about the soil. So, I discussed their soil texture and marami pang portion of soil. It will be a 12-episode series. So, if you want to learn more on that, the only problem there is that English yon kasi sa US yung clients yung audiences, pero it will still help you kasi as much as possible nagtatry ako na gumamit ng mga illustration na madaling intindihin through analogies. Ganon. So I hope that you also check that. I will just link it here. And ayun. So solid yung minerals and your organic matter, yung liquid, yung soil solution, which is yung, say for example, yung porosity, di ba? Sa bawat pores, merong water na pwedeng mag-stock doon. So that is the liquid portion of the the soil. Tapos yung sa water na yun, doon na di-dissolve yung nutrients na nasa soil. So ayun yung kinukuha ng roots para sa pag-absorb ng roots. Tapos ayun yung ginagamit na water for the plants to grow. Then yung gas naman, yung air na nasa pores din ng soil natin. So ayun, ang lupa o ang soil natin, it has a mixture of minerals, water, wind or air, and yung microorganisms para mas healthy yung plants natin. So again, more of that you can explore sa YouTube channel ng Omaha Gardener. I am doing that series and it is a fun series to watch because I am, giving all my creative juices out there. Doon ako nakakapag-edit talaga ng may mga words, stuff na lumalabas. So, yeah. Check on that. Please, please, please. Okay, so the answer here is soil. Soils are considered strongly acidic at, alin dyan? The answer is 4.425. So dito, strongly acidic yan sa 4 to 5. So ito ang kanilang classifications. Neutral at 7, slightly acidic at 6 to 6.9, moderately acidic 5 to 5.9, strongly acidic 4 to 5, below 4 ay very strongly acidic. So kindly verify na lang din sa mga bagong sources if ganito pa rin yung scale. Pero yan, if not, correct me in the comments about this scale if ever na hindi na ito yung scale na yon. Number 23, nutrient availability in soil is largely dependent on, alin kaya dyan? Structure and bulk density, color, pH and moisture content, or water holding capacity. So, ang answer dito ay pH and moisture content. Again, moisture, kailangan siya para kasi doon na di-dissolve yung nutrient. Sabi ko kanina, sa pores, nandun na nag-stock yung water. Tapos sa water, doon na di-dissolve yung nutrients na kailangan ng plants natin na kunin through the roots. So yung pH naman, there are some minerals that are not active or na hindi sila available in certain pH. So if you are familiar with, I don't know if nailagay ko siya dito. Nandun yun meron akong whole episode sa Omaha Gardener about soil pH. So go to that episode. So dito, example, may mga elements katulad ng calcium and magnesium na wala sila in acidic soils. On the other hand, yun namang iron tsaka zinc ay wala sila sa alkaline soils. So ayun yung direct effect ng pH sa chemical availability. Check on the Omaha Gardener episode on soil pH. Then, we also have moisture content. It determines kung gaano kabilis na dadala ang nutrients sa roots. So, sabi natin, yung in-illustrate ko kanina na dun sa pores, nandoon yung pupunta dun yung water, dun na-absorb yung water, then dun sa water, ayun yung dun na dissolve yung nutrients, tapos ayun yung i-absorb ng roots. Which is the most important plant element needed by leafy vegetables? A, organic fertilizer. B, nitrogen. Leafy vegetables. C, phosphorus. D, potassium. So ang answer dito ay nitrogen. I also have another episode on soil nutrients. I think soil nutrients sa Omaha Gardener. So I'll just link it here. Nitrogen, ba't siya kailangan ng leafy vegetables? Kasi ang leafy vegetables rich in chlorophyll. Sa chlorophyll, ang structure, if titignan nyo yung structure ng chlorophyll, may 4 na nitrogen na nakapaligid dun sa magnesium na nasa gitna. So yung atom ng chlorophyll, meron siyang magnesium sa gitna, tas sa paligid nun, merong nitrogen. So kung walang nitrogen, ang nangyayari, di ba, nasa soil science yata to, or sa crop protection, na ang effect kapag less ang nitrogen ay chlorosis, nagiging yellow yung leaf natin. Kasi nga, yung nitrogen, component siya ng chlorophyll. Yung chlorophyll, ayun yung reason kaya kulay green yung ating halaman. Ayan. Ayan yun. Okay, ano yun naman yung purpose ng other uh, elements? So sa phosphorus naman, it supports root growth and flowering or fruiting. So it is not the primary goal for leafy crops. So phosphorus kailangan siya sa rooting, sa flowering and fruiting stages of the plants. Yung potassium naman is key for overall plant health and disease resistance, but not as critical as nitrogen for leafy yield. I think that is it for this episode. If I help you understand these concepts more, can you please like, subscribe, and also click the notification bell para maging updated kayo sa mga videos ng Yabong Pilipinas in the future. And also, if you want one of your friends or a lot of them na pumasa ng licensure with you, you can share this video to them and go guys, pass the licensure together. And yeah, I think that's it for this episode. See you in the next episode. Bye.